Today I'm going to make a piece of meteorite into a sword. Here's how I did it. Here's where it all starts with a single piece of meteorite. I'm going to take some 1084 and 15 and 20 high carbon steel. This will allow me to stack it and put my meteorite within the billet. Now off camera I made a second billet. Now I'm going to clean up these two and then cut them up and stack them and re-weld them for our final billet. Now here's my three billets. The middle one has meteorite and the outer two is just standard Damascus. This sword will have a heart of meteorite. Now that forging is completely done, it's time to harden it. So I'm going to go in tang first and then eventually switch it over to tip first. This will ensure a nice even heat so that I can get a nice hard blade. Now this is one of the most terrifying parts of the process, but it's also the most exciting.
I have a flaming sword!
Now it's time to grind the blade. We're going to start with the profile and then work our way to the bevels. You always start with the profile as it acts as a reference to everything you do whenever you're shaping the blade. Now that the blade has been ground, I'm going to use some sandpaper to hand sand it up to my final grit before I'll etch it. Here you can see me rubbing the ferric chloride onto the blade. This creates a nice shallow etch that I'll then refine with some 2000 grit sandpaper. The next morning, as I had my Kyle Royer inspired coffee break, I realized that European style blades have never really been the challenge. The challenge has always been the handle, and so that's the next obstacle we're going to face. I'm going to start with about 1.5 inch diameter copper that we're going to be making our guard from. Now that our piece is cut, we're going to get cracking and throw it into the forge. But first, I decided to have some fun with some steel wool.
Again.
Didn't work. Here you can see my wife, the camera lady, playing with the hot piece of copper with a piece of hay. After forging out the quillions for my guard, it's time to make the pommel. So I'm going to take a piece of that same copper and start to forge it out into a round disc. Now that forging is done, I'm going to start shaping the guard and pommel. First up, I get the rough shaping done on the guard before fitting it up to the tang of the sword. I'm going to start by drilling a hole in the center point, and then I'll use a carbide bit in my Dremel to widen that hole so the tang will fit through nice and snug. After this, I use some needle files to true up the fit. Now this really is a trial and error process as I go back and forth trying it on, and if it doesn't fit, I file away some more. Once it does fit, however, I take some Japanese chasing chisels. I'm going to create a nice recessed fit for the shoulders of the sword. Once it fits nice and tight, I'm going to finish out the guard before starting to work on my handle. I've said it in the past, but this is my favorite part of the entire process. I'm going to start with some Siamese rosewood blocks that I'm going to drill out, fit up to my tang, and then shape and polish from my belt grinder.
I should let go.
The most daunting part of this entire project was the European style pommel. I was going for a sort of concave octagonal shape here. Once it was shaped, I put it in the forge along with the guard to give it a nice blackened finish. After this, I drilled the pinhole and the tang hole so that I could fit it up to the sword. Once this was done, I decided to set an orange citrine in the pommel. I started by drilling out a hole the size of the citrine, and then creating a groove along the inside of that hole that I could then push material down over the stone. Once this was done, I did some basic line work with engravers and added some stippling for texture. After a dry fitment of all the pieces, the sword was done, but now it was time to make a scabbard before the grand reveal. I'm starting with 2 boards of sapelli that I've trued up on the miter saw. After this, I trace out my sword shape before using a router to eat away at the material within. Once this has been done, I use some chisels to true up my shape before gluing it together and doing the final shaping. The final step is carving the scabbard. This has been an absolute blast to make, and I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Alright, God bless.
Are you gonna go get that?
Thank you guys for watching this video. I am just so thrilled. You know, go do something. Go make something. Go be passionate about something. And I hope that this in some way has inspired that for you. So again, thank you, and yeah, hit that subscribe button if you want to watch me make something else. And yeah, hopefully see you guys in the next one. All right, bye. God bless.